The following is a special presentation of 540 ESPN.
It's me, Austin! Oh, son of a bitch! What? It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin!
Fate of WCW is in my hands.
You stole it! You stole it! You got it! You got it! Fire me! He's hot! He's spicy! He tastes good! Batista, I hope you're watching, because if you mess with me, I'm going to beat you up, just like I'm going to beat up Ponzi over here.
For over 10 years, the world's #1 source for professional wrestling news and information. And once again, here's your host, Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, and the man they call Meathead. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
We are live Sunday night, August 16, 2009. TNA Hard Justice just off the air. And I will say...
Hopefully Damien is just off the air next.
I will say a very surprising turn of events on that pay-per-view. Not quite what we expected, given the big news story coming out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania yesterday.
Not quite what Damien
involving
expected.
Kurt Angle. Damian Nelson, the man they call Meathead, the Kaz, and Dave Hero. We're with you here live. Sunday night, August 16, 2009. A special Sunday night edition with this big TNA Hard Justice wrap-up. And as we said, we're going to talk in depth about that controversy surrounding Kurt Angle and really a horrible, absolutely horrible situation within TNA right now. Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to be taking your calls live at 1-800-990-ESPN or 276-ESPN. Again, that's 800-990-ESPN or 276-ESPN. We're also streaming live at pwrshow.com, and you can join us in the chatmosphere. All of our registered users at pwrshow.com. Registration's free, by the way. Come on into the chatmosphere and join the discussion along with the PWR forum. But, gentlemen, we don't have a new TNA World Heavyweight Champion, as I think many of us in this room thought would happen. Kurt Angle retains the TNA World Heavyweight Championship amongst a ton of controversy.
No, see, I was not one of those that said Kurt Angle was going to drop the belt tonight. I said Kurt Angle retains, and as Dave Hero mentioned to me right afterwards, they got to do something. It's probably going to be at TV. And I said, you know what, you're probably right. And as you mentioned afterwards, I'm just going to speak for you.
That's fine.
But as you mentioned afterwards, it's about ratings.
It's all about the ratings. And right now, people are going to tune in to Impact on Thursday because I'm sure tomorrow will be all over the news, more mainstream media about Kurt Angle.
That's what I'm talking about.
And they're going to want to see what happened with Kurt Angle.
The company's champion is
No. The face of the company.
Same, different wording.
No. The company's champion is, no, he's the face of the company.
Well, think about this. We had, obviously...
As dubbed by you last week, by the way.
We had Kennedy on a couple weeks ago, and he talked about how on paper... Anderson. And he talked about how things changed like minutes before a pay-per-view or minutes before a show. In this case, TNA, they get the news that happened, 24 hours, whatever that time frame is, and the writer said, just keep everything as is. Don't change anything for this show. We'll work on it, but for this time, let's just keep things as it is.
You know what? I bet you they had some serious closed-door meetings today.
Oh,
I'm sure there was a whole bunch of different scenarios that we're going through, but they probably figured the safest one to draw the least amount of attention to it is to let Kurt retain.
Right.
And again, as you say, closed-door meetings, I think those meetings didn't involve just tonight. They involved the future of the company.
We talked leading into this pay-per-view, Hard Justice, about Matt Morgan being in that main event matchup along with Sting and Kurt Angle and how this might be an opportunity for TNA to shake things up a bit by throwing the strap on Matt Morgan.
You said strap on.
Before that was even before hearing about this Kurt Angle controversy. And for those of you that don't know, here's the synopsis of what happened. Kurt Angle was arrested in outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania Saturday morning at about 8 a.m. For stalking was the original call, but the much more serious situation are the drugs which he says are prescribed that were found in his vehicle while driving under a suspended license due to previous driving under the influence charges that were made against him. Kurt Angle is going to be in court on Tuesday. TNA is taping TV on Tuesday. This is a very bizarre situation, and TNA has now kept the title on the man who is going to cause them potentially a ton of bad publicity.
This is Chris Benoit, Part 2.
It is not, because he didn't kill anybody. I'm sorry to repeat. No, it does make a difference, because the man hasn't done physical harm to another man's family. He hasn't killed any children. He hasn't killed any woman.
He caused physical harm to a woman.
Alleged.
The police were called.
Alleged.
She got a restraining order.
The restraining order.
So that means something must have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were drugs found. Steroids.
She's accused. And I'm not saying she's right or wrong, but
I'm saying you're wrong. You just can't slap a restraining order on somebody without cause.
We have a criminal system, a justice system.
Well, this is bad. This is bad.
It's very, very bad. But again, it's alleged.
Well,
you know what?
Some of it is.
Hold on, wait.
The facts, the stuff that was in the car isn't alleged.
Nope, not at all.
Where have you read where it says allegedly this happened?
Until he's been convicted.
He was
of it,
arrested.
Everything's alleged.
He was
arrested. He was arrested under suspicion.
No, he was arrested because of possibly suspicion.
Well, he broke the
DUI.
law. He broke the law by at least being in the area that she was in and violating the personal.
But you're talking about Benoit, as in he killed himself and his family.
No, you're missing my point. What's going to happen is
then you'll need to clarify.
On all the news channels, on CNN, on MSNBC, on Fox News, they're going to say another wrestler abusive towards the girlfriend. Steroids were found. Steroids in wrestling. The violence,
that's the
the whole
story.
thing.
That'll be the story, sure. But you weren't clear when you said that.
And you know what's going to happen? Every lead in that story, they're going to show Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle side by side.
Yep.
And eventually they'll.
So that's why I'm saying this is Chris Benoit Part 2.
Thank you for clarifying. Now, because you weren't clear when you started, and if that's what it takes to get Dave Hero actually so we can hear you on the air, gotcha.
Eventually, what they'll then do, which would be unfair or fair, depending on how you want to look at it, they'll ask WWE's, do you have a comment on this? And the smart thing to say at that point is he is not an employee of WWE.
Yeah,
but they will. But they will. There are some of the media that there's another opportunity because he was part of WWE. Well, if he took it now, did he take it then? And all that jazz.
And you know what? You can get a prescription for anything.
Yeah.
All these doctors. Look at Michael Jackson. He had prescriptions for everything. It doesn't make a difference.
Well, there's a trend, and the problem is when there are trends. This is not Kurt Angle's first situation. Remember, he was also arrested for that DUI situation. He has also admittedly abused drugs in the past, specifically painkillers. He has also been accused of being almost near the point of self-destruction. This is a trend. This is yet another cog in that trend of him and potentially drugs and potentially ruthless, reckless, and self-destructive behavior. This is a huge problem. The story is, as you guys have put, the story is a wrestler, a professional wrestler, a world Olympic gold medalist, a professional wrestler found with growth hormones in his vehicle, on his person, in his possession, prescribed, by the way, at least according to Angle at this point. But that's a whole other situation because you can get, as you said, subscriptions for anything. That's the story. That's the problem. That's what TNA has to deal with. At the same time, they're dealing with this whole controversy going on between Jeff Jarrett and Kurt Angle. They have a huge problem on their hands. And quite frankly, I think that, as Eric Bischoff said, they need to create cash out of this controversy. And how they do that is by keeping the strap on Angle, which I will admit, I did not say until just before the end of the match. I said, you know what? What if they milk this? What if they take all the publicity they can get? They're not a public company. They're private. They can do whatever they want. They have nobody to answer to, really. Aside from a couple of state athletic commissions here and there, they've got nobody to answer to. So why not? Why not let the coverage of this draw more people to TNA, give more people familiarity with TNA, and try to capitalize on it?
I tell you why it doesn't work, in my opinion. Because it's not the marketing machine that is WWE. This is second fiddle, basically production. So any kind of, they may get a little blip right away, but a long-term effect, I just don't see it. I don't know if you can even
do you
see
think,
me with those glasses
Do you
on,
think
but
Universal wants to have that kind of bad press with one of the top stars?
You're right. They've got a lot of risk in this.
Kurt Angle's going to take a vacation for a while.
Either
really,
they're doing
I thought
this,
he was in charge of creative. That's what the story was. The way it was going, he was going to be in control of the company.
Either they're doing this to try to capitalize on the story, or they just did not have enough time or enough wherewithal to make the right decision. And that right decision in a lot of people's minds, and mine included in that up until the end of the night tonight, was somebody else must walk out of that pay-per-view tonight with the world title, because you've got the face of the company, as you said, Dave Hero, the face of the company shrouded in controversy.
He was booed. When was the last time Kurt Angle got that kind of heat? It's
been about a minute.
I couldn't believe it. So all those fans know what's going on. TNA is just in a bad spot because I've heard this is not the first. Let's not forget, more than just the HGH being found, okay? He was accused of beating up his girlfriend, who's been...
Okay, so now you're saying accused. I want to be clear.
Well,
drop it. Really, here's the fact. The fact is she got an order of protection against him. It happens all over the world every day in every city and every jurisdiction. He violated that. He was driving when he shouldn't have been. There's a lot more to the story, clearly.
And this is not the first time he and Raka Khan have gotten into these kind of confrontations.
The best thing that TNA does is, whatever happens on Tuesday, whatever his punishment will be, there'll probably be a court date, whatever.
It's 10 o'clock Tuesday morning.
Well, I think that's just a hearing.
He's not going to make it back in time for the TV taping.
No, I think in a hearing, they'll eventually, here are your charges, and then and I'm not in law, so I'm only taking a guess at this.
I've been watching Law and Order. I can help you through this.
Eventually, then there's a court date will he be in front of a jury, and he can get lawyers and whatever, or he can just claim, yes, I am guilty of these things. Then they have a date where they say, okay, we'll have a date for your punishment. I think this is just a hearing, just based on because there are always two sides of every story. Yes,
correct.
He broke
3. Yours, mine, and the truth.
That's right.
Ron Killings was involved?
No. And this isn't the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe working this either.
So he's going to have his time at the hearing to give his side. I had a prescription for this. Yes, I did violate the restraining order. However, I wasn't stalking her. Then the judge says, we have a court date in probably December of this year, the way the court system works, and then they'll have some type of thing, unless something is worked out.
Well, let's look at worst case scenario. Kurt Angle could spend up to 2 months in jail, if not longer, as a result of this situation.
If they of the DUI situation, that's the only thing that it's the state law mandates.
What does it matter? As a result of this situation, he could spend several months in jail.
You're spinning it completely different ways. The DUI thing is the 2 months. Now,
did I say specifically which one? I said as a result of this situation.
The situation as in a whole thing. I mean, you've got Dave Hero talking about it being a Chris Benoit situation.
I think there's a man
he can spend time in jail. That's
all the man has done so far has been caught driving while under a DUI. It was Pennsylvania. It was driving under a DUI.
Only found drugs in his car.
They found HGH, which he says, quote unquote, that he has the prescription for, and he's accused of being, a stalker to Raka Khan.
Beat up his girlfriend.
He's accused of beating her up.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, ESPNMilwaukee.com, and PWRShow.com. We're talking about TNA Hard Justice on pay-per-view just tonight and the controversy surrounding the current TNA World Champion Kurt Angle.
How ironic is that pay-per-view title for Kurt Angle right now?
That's a good point.
Or if you couldn't call it ruthless aggression.
414-276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. When we come back, we'll be taking your phone calls. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. We're live Sunday, August 16, 2009, coming off the heels of TNA Hard Justice. And TNA, obviously, a hot topic this weekend, not only for the pay-per-view, but also for the controversy surrounding the world champion Kurt Angle, former Olympic hero. Damian Nelson, the man they call Meathead, the Cause, and Dave Hero here with you. And we are looking for your phone calls. The number 276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. Let's go first to line 1. We've got Daniel from Texas. You're live.
Hey, guys, I got a bunch of things on this Kurt Angle thing I wanted to ask you about.
Fire away. And begin.
Well, Dave, first of all, you said that behind all these closed-door meetings today, you thought that Kurt retaining would be the least alarming, and I'm just curious as to why you think that.
I think he's asking Dave to explain himself. Explain yourself, fool.
I mean, I guess right now it draws less attention. Okay, Kurt Angle. Well, I mean, as far as the fans go, I mean, if he drops, everyone figured tonight going in, Kurt Angle was going to lose the belt. Now they're going to have an extra day and a half to actually think what's going to be the best route for the company.
Well, he's got court Tuesday and Wednesday. See, this protection order thing, I don't know how it is in whatever state he's in, Pennsylvania or whatever, but in Texas, anybody can get a restraining order against anybody. It's a civil order. They can't exactly arrest you for it. In the civil order, he has to go to court for on Wednesday. Tuesday, he's going to court. Like, did you guys see the APA article? The picture on it's hilarious, by the way. They have his Olympic picture with him on his knees crying. It was great. So they tape, don't they, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
This week they're taping Monday, Tuesday, and then they return in 2 weeks to tape the following.
So he'll drop the belt tomorrow on TV to somebody.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Maybe, but
TNA is not going to want to have O'Reilly or Oberman or anyone say the current TNA World Champion is in court today.
Well, then why didn't they have him drop the title tonight? I mean, I don't know. You guys brought up Eric Bischoff's
controversy creates cash.
Exactly, and you were talking about Damien was talking about the negative publicity from this. Maybe they want to get out there, but so far it hasn't been on any of the mainstream media outlets except for an article in the Associated Press, an article in the Seattle Times, and the headlines. Yeah, but it hasn't been on.
Well, AP picked it up. The Associated Press, which is where everybody gets their news, picked it up this afternoon, which means it's going to be on the morning news tomorrow.
Right. Well, what was their
headline? Understand.
What was their headline though on the APA? It was charged with HGH possession.
Well, also understand, too, that it's the weekend. When Monday morning rolls around, this will be fodder for everyone.
Well, are they going to do the Associated Press and the Seattle in the newspapers?
Come on, it's mainstream news.
Go after HGH.
The headlines
are they going to go after the HGH, or are they going to go after the whole?
The story is the HGH. I mean, Kurt admitted to the police officer that pulled him over that he was removed. There's two police situations here, folks. First was Friday night, where he was removed from his home by the police due to an altercation with his girlfriend. He admits that. We don't know the nature of that altercation or whatnot, but he admitted that to the police officer. And then on Saturday morning, after the protective order was granted Saturday morning, he got arrested for that.
The judge had to sign for it.
Exactly. So the story here is not that. That's not sensational enough, to be honest with you, especially once word starts getting out about who the girlfriend is and her backstory.
Right.
But the story is the drugs, because they can tie it back to Chris Benoit. Whether it's valid or not, they can tie it back. Can the media outlets who may want to sensationalize this, they can tie it back to the drug situation. TMZ.com has already somewhat done it. And granted, they're not the most reputable of media organizations, but that's where the story's going to be, and each outlet that chooses to pick this up will make their own headline.
Agreed. But I don't think, Damien, you were saying earlier that the big thing, with the jail was the drugs. I think he'll get out of that with the prescription.
Yeah,
the big
probably.
thing is the mandatory minimum 60 days. Even though he was never found guilty of that DUI, with the suspension of his license and driving without it, that's a mandatory minimum 60 days in jail. I don't care.
That can be deferred, though.
Well, yeah, but he's still going to serve it.
Sure. But that also gives them time. That also gives TNA time. They don't have to pull the belt off of him.
They do in the next 24 to 48 hours. They have to.
Well, Dave, not necessarily. They don't have to. I mean,
here's worst case scenario, Daniel.
He'll appear before the judge. Go ahead, Damien.
Worst case scenario is your champion is sitting in jail for 2 months. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but that's worst case scenario.
And has that ever happened before? I asked that in the chat room. Nobody knew. Has that ever happened before? Has a reigning title holder ever been, serving hard time?
I've never heard that before.
After hard justice?
Well, Big Boss Man was never.
After hard justice.
I stole that's Dave Hero's joke. I stole it. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, to do business the right way, they got to take the belt off Kurt and let him deal with his stuff. You can't have the captain of your ship dealing with all this
with
stuff.
the
There's just no way it's going to work.
Well, I agree, but they have time. They're going to, once he goes to court, the civil thing Wednesday, I think, will probably get thrown out. I think the serious thing that's going to stick is the driving with the suspended license, but they can push that off.
Well, there's two courts here, though, Daniel. There's the court of law and the court of public opinion. The head story or the headline on ESPN.com is Angle charged with HGH possession. Pro wrestler and Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle has been arrested on charges of possessing a human growth hormone and violating an order of protection in suburban Pittsburgh. There you go. That's the headline and the subheadline that most outlets are going to pick up, and that's the actual AP feed on that. So there's your story. The story is going to be the drugs, no matter what else happens. And even if we all hear the jokes about retractions in newspapers and on on TV, it's always buried between the weather and sports or something like that. So what's going to matter is what those headlines say tomorrow morning and how much else is going on in the world, because, quite frankly, whether it be this healthcare thing or whatever else is going on, a lot of people may not pick up on this. They may not sensationalize it.
Well, does Dixie? The real question is, does Dixie Carter and TNA, can they Vince McMahon this? Can they turn this negative into a positive? Because a lot of people who never heard of TNA before are going to hear, about the TNA World Heavyweight Champion Kurt Angle, and are they going to be able to spin this?
Well, here's the thing: it's not Dixie. Does her dad want to keep funding a company that's lost over $30 million in the last couple of years, and now gets hit, with something like this? I mean, right now, what they got to do, and why I'm saying Kurt Angle loses the belt tomorrow, is they can't take the chance of having 2 or 3 days of TV tapings where the fans bring in signs, the fans start different chants, they bring him in, take the belt off, and then he's off TV until this whole thing is taken care of.
Well, again, TNA also controls that arena, too.
Yeah, they can do crowd control. I mean, you hear about, them taking signs away from people all the time. I mean, I think they could do that. They can't control their chants, but, TNA's taped, so they can always dub it. So, I don't necessarily think, if they didn't take it off of Angle tonight, I don't think they need to take it off of him, like you say, in the next 48 hours. I don't think that has to happen. If they felt that way, why not do it at the pay-per-view?
It's still agreed that it's going to be taken off. We assume that's the best path for them, but it
doesn't
necessarily
eventually
have to
he's going to have to. Because he's going to go to jail sometime, whether it be 2, 3, 4 months from now. He's going to have to go to jail.
Well, Daniel from Texas, thank you so much for calling in. We've got to move on to our next caller. Let's go to line 2. We've got Anthony out on the West Coast in California. Anthony, welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hey there, guys. I'm going to be probably like everyone else is going to be calling me about the Kurt Angle situation. I'm agreeing with probably the majority of the people. They said that he should have lost the belt tonight. They could have had him retain it in the three-way match, and now I know where Hernandez comes in and wins the belt from him. That was one way they could have gone. Mm-hmm. But I agree they should make him lose it then, like the next TV taping, because they cannot have this publicity. They want TNA to be shown or known. This is not the way they want to be known, especially with the Jeff Jarrett, Karen Angle situation.
Yeah, that certainly won't get beyond the wrestling community, that story, the backstage situation. But this will, I predict that this is going to be a pretty big story over the course of the next week, especially given the fact that any other time this has happened. Remember the whole steroid thing where the doctor, whose name escapes me right now, was found to have been providing drugs to several wrestling stars, and that was a big story. This could get out of hand real quickly for TNA, and quite frankly, luckily for them, they really haven't been referenced much. It's just been wrestler Kurt Angle, former Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. So if they're hoping to get any pub from this, the stories are going to have to change very soon in order for them to get some pub for it, because a lot of people might hear this or see this and say, oh, Kurt Angle, well, he left wrestling a long time ago.
Yeah, because you guys said, why didn't just use this to help get momentum for TNA? Well, if they did that, they could have done, like I said, with the Jeff Jarrett situation, but I don't think Dixie and her father would like to do that.
If I'm Jeff Jarrett, I'm feeling really good right now. I mean, he's gone from villain in the company to, like, right now the guy that, wow, maybe he wasn't so bad after all.
Maybe I'm sane. Maybe I'm a savior.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's gonna, a lot of stuff is gonna start to leak out slowly, and Kurt Angle just needs to go away for a little while. A year ago, when Kurt was in town for the Bound for Glory interviews,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked to a bunch of the guys, that wrestle for both companies. They all said Kurt Angle is a machine. He doesn't know when to stop. He's nuts. He's been consumed
which is
by the
admirable,
business.
but also a problem.
He needs to take a break.
You know what? We talked about this off air before the show. I asked when was he ECW champion. That's exactly when we did on the show. We said, Kurt, please slow down, stop. You're going to do something bad. I mean, the guy's insane. He's insane, and you know what? Again, it's fun to watch when it's just a wrestling gimmick, but the man lives the gimmick now. I mean, he's literally going full octane every day.
Anthony, thank you very much for that call. Remember, you guys can join us at number 276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. Now we're going to go from the West Coast out to the East Coast. We've got Elliot from New York. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Elliot.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is what I say about the Kurt Angle thing, because I kind of want to, say my opinion about the pay-per-view, because you're obviously going to hear a lot about what is to be done with Kurt Angle, what hard justice he's going to be served or whatever. I say this about Kurt Angle. He is kind of bringing just as much bad for the company as he is good. He really is. Mm-hmm. Because the way I look at it, he's not really causing the controversy between him and Jarrett. I don't believe that Jarrett's the one causing the controversy between him and Kurt. I think it's kind of Kurt being, like Meathead said, living the gimmick. And his emotions tie in. And, I think he's like one of those guys that don't know when the cameras go off. That's my opinion of Kurt Angle. I have respect for him as an athlete, his wrestling ability, all that, but he seems like a lunatic. That's that's Kurt Angle. And now from this all this publicity, this will get TNA's name out. But is that how Dixie Carter wants it? Really?
No.
No, because in a way he's causing just as much bad as he is good.
And you got to wonder how many news reporters or whatnot are going to still call him WWF wrestler Kurt Angle.
Right, not WWE, WWF.
And also a good reporter would also use whatever controversy between Jeff and Kurt and Angle and that.
Again, but that's more related to the wrestling world.
Elliot makes a good point. There's backstory there.
They can easily say this guy can be the downfall of this company. That could be a part of the story. That could be a little side story. This guy's the downfall of this young company. That can easily be. And then on the other side, drugs and wrestling. This can go so many ways, and no one is benefiting except probably WWE. No one is benefiting except them.
Elliot, thank you very much for that call from out on the East Coast in New York City. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. TNA Hard Justice tonight. We're going to continue talking about the Kurt Angle situation later on. Remember, you can join us on the phone by calling 276-ESPN here in southeastern Wisconsin or all over the world at 1-800-990-ESPN. Also, we've got the live chat going in the chatmosphere at pwrshow.com. Gentlemen, we saw a couple of titles change hands. Actually, two other titles change hands in this evening. The first of which was the X Division Championship. Samoa Joe, the new X Division champion, defeating Homicide, taking that title. Two questions. The match itself, how was it? The future of Homicide, what will it be?
Unfortunately, it doesn't look good for Homicide. I don't know how else to sum it up for you, Dave.
I've never been a Homicide fan to begin with.
I like him.
The match I thought was okay. I mean, it's your Samoa Joe match. Make the guy tap out.
Maybe they can make a three-man tag team with Homicide, Suicide, and then create a new character, Genocide.
I used that gimmick a month ago.
Well, but yeah, I like that. Suicide and Homicide.
I thought it was a good match. I'm not sure what I thought would happen in the match. Samoa Joe as X Division champion is probably more beneficial to the company overall than Homicide being the champion.
Yeah, Homicide was transitional.
You know what? They needed to put that X Division title on, in the opening match, in the big cage match. Those guys, one of them need that belt.
And that match, which opened the show, the Steel Asylum match, it's a weird match where you have to climb out through a hole at the top of the cage to win the match. Again, another great opening contest from TNA. The participants in that match, the Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. Consequences, Creed, Jay Lethal.
And the Pope.
Amazing Red, Suicide, Daniels, and debuting D'Angelo De Niro, the Pope, formerly known as Elijah Burke in WWE.
He looked good.
Oh, that's right. Elijah Burke wasn't going to TNA, was he?
That's what he said.
Yeah.
He wrote a song about it.
Like to hear it, here it goes. It was the Pope.
Daniels gets the win in that matchup and becomes the number one contender for the TNA X Division championship, now held by Samoa Joe. Great match. This one was a little heavy on the spot, a little quick on the draw
Even
as far as
for
pacing
Glory,
goes.
Though, it was a spot match, spot fest.
But you know what? Isn't that what the TNA fans expect out of these kinds of matches?
Yes.
So to not deliver that, I think that they would have disappointed a lot of people as far as their expectation levels going that match.
There's some talk in the channel sphere about having this match open the show. I mean, obviously, the hottest match of the night, with the most action, why would it open the show? Well, you can't put it up against the main event. You're not going to put it at 9
but
o'clock.
that's the match that dictates the pace of the fans.
Correct.
Also.
Yeah, you're not going to put this match at 9 o'clock because it's going to steal all the thunder from the main event.
Well, and they had to. I mean, just logistically speaking, it made the most sense to start that show, start the show with that match rather. And then the following two matches after that, they really needed the Steel Asylum match to elevate the level of the opening and then sort of coast through the next two matches, which were the Jethro Holliday versus Abyss Weapons match.
Why was Jethro Holliday in that match?
So he could turn on Stevie, Dr. Stevie.
I don't know. I don't get it.
The question was, in the chatmosphere as we were watching that pay-per-view tonight, TNA Hard Justice, the question was, why is this on pay-per-view? At the end of the match, I'm not sure if much happened in the way of story development. As I said, Stevie not really able to find anyone to cash in or to earn that $50,000 bounty, that $50,000 bounty that he had put on the head of Abyss. Jethro Holliday actually going a little postal on Dr. Stevie after the matchup. This has been going on for such a long time. I guess the only good part is there was no Lauren run-in.
Yeah, who would have thought that Dr. Stevie Richards would still be around? I mean, he's getting more airtime than most of the younger stars in TNA right now.
He got more airtime than Bobby Lashley tonight.
Yeah, the boss, Bobby Lashley.
Remember, he's in TNA. I don't know if
who?
Is Bobby Lashley,
He's
the boss,
the
the God of Thunder. Not sure what it'll be next week.
Brock Lesnar?
Wait, the God of Thunder?
That's what they were calling him for about a minute.
And now he's called the boss.
His shirt says the boss.
He was on Impact, but in an interview.
Rob Terry.
Well, hold on a second. See, now they've had Bobby Lashley in the company for how long now?
Couple months.
Okay.
First made his appearance.
Do you see now why they need more time to decide what to do with Kurt Angle? Because they don't know what to do with Bobby Lashley, who they've had for 3 months.
And could be making money off of.
Sorry, Damien.
Rob Terry. Oh, no.
No. It's Damien's time for Rob Terry. So go.
Hernandez versus Rob Terry. Hernandez is trying to get his feast or fired briefcase back.
What? It was a short match, the way it should have been.
Squash.
Right. It should have been that.
Here's the question. Is Rob Terry natural?
Natural?
You know what? I think he was driving Kurt Angle's car. Or driving with him.
Those are his.
Yeah. That's what he should have done. He should have told that
I don't know where those came from.
He'd be like, hey, yeah, it's that British guy over there. It's his, you know? He's British, you know.
Spiky hair and the big arms.
Yeah.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. We want to hear your answers to that question, and we're going to talk about that quote-unquote match between Rob Terry and Hernandez when we come back here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and TWRShow.com. We are live Sunday night, August 16, 2009. Damian Nelson, the man they call Meathead the Cause, and Dave Hero here with you. We're talking about TNA Hard Justice and the controversy surrounding the arrest of the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Kurt Angle. And before we took that time out,
can I say something real quick?
Welcome back, Frank.
Yeah. Unless someone's on the line.
Frank, go.
Lines are full.
Real quick. Do you think TNA could take this to an area where it's like, we want to help Kurt Angle?
You mean like a WWE wellness policy where they're trying to, pay for Scott Hall's rehab type deal?
Well, will they come out and, maybe on the side or something, maybe not publicly, but say, hey, Kurt, you're in a bad place right now. Either, like Dave, you mentioned, take a couple months, but then we're going to get you to talk to some people.
Hold on a second, guys. Angle was scheduled to have a hearing on Tuesday, but his attorney told Channel 11 News that he will be out of town, so it will likely be delayed.
He's got stroke. Frank, to your point, TNA's comment thus far is no comment, which any company would give, quite frankly,
right now.
This early in the situation.
Right now, obviously. But down the road, whether it be another week, Kurt, you're going to have your court, your hearing, whatever. But then, we want to either help you. Do you think they'll go that way? Do you think they owe it to an employee to say we want to help you? Or this is just entertainment?
They could. I mean, there's several different ways they can spin this, but I think they're resting right now to try to figure out where it's going to go, what's going to happen with it. Tomorrow morning is going to be very important, as we said, as it pertains to this story, as to how big it gets. Before we took that time out, we were talking about the squash of Hernandez over Rob Terry. And the question was,
Damian Nelson's next big thing for 2010.
The question was, Frank, is Rob Terry natural?
Not Butch Reed natural.
I think the real
Please
question is, no. The real question is, Frank Cosentino, do you know who Rob Terry is?
Well,
he was driving Kurt's car.
But I don't understand what you mean by
Kurt
natural.
was driving. That's why he got in trouble. He was the passenger.
Frank, I know this is a radio show, so keep talking while I give you the visual.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think he's natural.
Hernandez wins his shot
I didn't give you the answer you wanted, or what? Y'all look at me like, okay.
Well, it just took too long. That's all.
Hernandez gets his shot at the World Championship back again, and no, he would not cash it in tonight, as a lot of people out in the PWR community said should happen, or at least they would have liked to have seen happen.
But that would have been way too much like a Raw or SmackDown show.
Yeah, because we've already seen that in WWE.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we haven't seen it in TNA.
He's going to cash it in before a pay-per-view so they can build it up so it means something. Otherwise,
then it's taped.
That's
there's
fun.
no shock.
But that's kind of funny that we're talking about this right at this second. Vince McMahon has complained that they don't build any new stars and create any new stars. That's all I see TNA doing is building up their younger guys, even though you still have main event Mafia.
Who have they built up?
Matt Morgan. Dude, that guy's made to look strong for months now.
Who has he beaten?
Huh? He beat AJ Styles. He beat other guys. I mean, he's getting
AJ
wins.
wasn't quite ready to fly.
Yeah,
he's getting wins.
Really,
he's going over.
No. Who has he beaten? That's elevated him.
You're asking me to go down the list now and go and pull
There
it
is
out.
no list.
He's got pins on Sting.
Well, it's because, never mind.
Yeah.
Because Sting forgot the
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave.
By the way, that was Dave Hero that said that about Sting. Dave Hero said Sting doesn't remember where he is.
Leading up
Dave
to this
Hero.
point, guys, we had some interesting dialogue between Matt Morgan and Kurt Angle, basically with JB in the middle. And there was some speculation as to how, if they were to take the title off Angle, how they would do that. And one thing that was floated around out there is Morgan wins, and Morgan had been aligned with the Mafia all along, and Angle takes some time off. They could have several different options. But again, who knows at what point they are willing to make that decision. But I found that intriguing, at least building up through the main event, that they were talking to those two and not keeping it so crystal clear as to what might happen in the main event. From that match, Rob Terry and Hernandez, we saw the IWGP Tag Team Championship titles defended as beer money tried to get them off of the British invasion. Now, here's my question. Great, TNA as a tag team division. Obviously the best tag team division between the two companies right now.
Very healthy.
But to have two tag team titles, one that, quite frankly, no domestic wrestling fan, most domestic wrestling fans even care about, doesn't make any sense to me. And then to have them defended on multiple pay-per-views,
It's probably a financial deal that they worked out with the I want to get.
I doubt that.
Well, it made sense when Team 3D had the belts, which is when they came into TNA, because they had won them and they were 22-time tag champs and they were going up against the beer money.
If there was a Japanese tag team in TNA, then I could see a financial agreement there.
Well, there is. We just haven't seen them in about 2 months.
Yeah.
Well, it's just Kyoshi, right?
No, there's others. I mean, when are we going to go with the World Cup thing again? The TNA Cup.
Two things. As during this matchup, Eric Young was on commentary, EY on commentary, who somebody said tonight made the comment that, and I hadn't thought about this until tonight. He came out in a suit, looked very nice, all cleaned up, had a little mousse in his hair, had a little
washed. He's washed. You got me.
He's blushed?
Washed.
Wash?
Yeah, he wasn't unwashed. He was washed.
Oh. He is on commentary, and he says that the British invasion is looking, or World Elite is looking for reparations. Now, you put that on top of what Don West said earlier about D'Angelo De Niro, the Pope. There's a theme there, much like last week's primetime.
What are you talking about?
Don West said he was hanging from the cage like a monkey.
Oh.
Didn't Don Imus get in trouble for that?
Ooh. No. Well, I mean,
he may have come out somebody's hair.
You're right.
Yeah.
Dave, you're on tonight. It's what you're not
saying. He
saying.
made a comment about some basketball players and so on. But
no, he just made a comment. The phrase was, and I'm not going to say it, but the phrase was about.
Which shouldn't even let you speak any further because you may not think you're going to say it, but you probably will.
You know, when you were suspended 3 weeks ago. You don't want the same thing to happen again.
The 59-minute suspension.
Yeah,
let's go to the phone lines. We've got some callers waiting patiently. Let's go back out to the West Coast. Nathan from San Francisco, you're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hello, how you guys doing?
Hey, Nathan. Nathan, you sound happy.
I am very happy because tonight I watched a great TNA pay-per-view.
Really?
TNA.
You were watching classics on DVD?
No. I was watching Hard Justice. It was a great pay-per-view. It was a great pay-per-view. I loved the matches.
Okay.
And, instead of the Kurt Angle situation, which I think is, bad, I think what TNA should have done was, just have Kurt Angle just drop the belt, basically.
No Way Out 2009. All three titles changed hands. It was shocking. It got people talking. It bumped the ratings up on Raw the following night and subsequent weeks. It created a lot of buzz.
And actually our ratings on YouTube as well because of No Way Out recap that Damian Nelson did for the PWR show. One of our top viewed videos of all time.
Controversy creates cash, and while controversy, good or bad, depending on who you ask, what impact that has on you, when you shake things up like that, it creates interest, and it's time! Shake things up again! That's potentially something that could have been done tonight, but it wasn't. That's in the past, and we move forward. Nathan from San Francisco, thank you very much for that phone call here on the Pro Wrestling Report. We're going to take another time out. When we come back, we're going to talk more about TNA Hard Justice tonight live on pay-per-view and more, including our VI3 This Week in History and so much more to come here tonight live on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Get the latest fantasy information during Fantasy Sports Weekly, Saturday mornings at 9 on 540 ESPN. For over 10 years, the world's #1 source for professional wrestling news and information. And once again, here's your hosts, Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, and the man they call Meathead. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Welcome to Hour 2 of the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN for Sunday, August 16, 2009. Thank you very much for staying up late with us and tuning in. Coming up the heels of TNA Hard Justice just tonight on pay-per-view. We're going down the lineup and taking your phone calls. We've got some very patient people who have been on hold. We're going to go to those calls in just a moment. Damian Nelson here live with the man they call...
Damian Nelson, extremely irritated Damian Nelson.
Yeah, Damian, if you're hot, man, just say you're hot.
You know what?
Not sure the listeners could tell I was hot because I put on my show face.
I've often said,
just like my
if you're hot,
face.
say you're hot.
Damian Nelson
was hot during the commercial break.
I got 4 people in this building right now trying to push an opinion on me and change my opinion.
I never said that.
No one's trying to change your opinion. We're just trying to say
the tie
facts.
looks great on you.
Wrestling is a sport.
Wait a minute. 1 second here.
Michael Tillman, producer.
You said 4 people trying to push an opinion here.
Okay,
you asked me a question to answer an opinion, and you never stopped talking to let me answer it.
Independents are.
So here we go.
Thank you for playing. Should we or should we not follow the advice of the galactically stupid?
I'm not going to follow Meathead's advice.
Is Dragon on the phone?
No. I like Tillman. He can stay.
What I was going to say before we took that time out about EY, before I got into a little offshoot about the comments that they had made tonight, someone made the comparison between him and Chris Jericho, which I would have never thought of, but once mentioned. I can see that. Jericho's obviously leagues better, but
so you're saying TNA is trying to steal something from WWE?
Your beloved WWE? I'm setting you up.
I'm a victim.
A few questions. First comment is, man, Damien, that had to just be a heartbreaking loss for your pick-to-click for the following year with Rob Terry. That was just brutal. I mean, I try to follow along with you a lot, but I just can't follow you on that one, Rob Terry. Ooh.
Has there been anyone worse than Rob Terry?
Have you watched Tank Abbott wrestle?
Tank Abbott, that's brutal too. Why do you think that they're going with the Pope instead of using Elijah Burke's real name?
Maybe he wanted to be the Pope. You know, some people want to be delicious, Pretty Ricky.
Yeah. Second question. Did anybody not see the outcome of that tag team match coming when there was two referees?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Why were there two refs?
Again, because it was Falls Count Anywhere, it's in tag team, so one half could be on one half of the building and the other half can be on the other half.
That's regarding the Steiner Booker T versus Team 3D matchup.
Got it.
I mean, that was just painfully obvious that was coming, but I didn't know there's replay in wrestling. Who knew?
Also, did you notice that Earl Hebner is evil? He has a goatee now.
I did not notice that, but I appreciate that being brought to my attention.
You're welcome.
Earl Hebner is...
He's the king of the irrelevant over here.
Yes, oh yeah. And my last question is, if Kurt Angle's situation didn't happen, I was guessing that at the next pay-per-view they would have handed the title off to Lashley, which may or may not have happened, but where do you think Lashley goes from here now that there's not going to be a potential feud, perhaps?
Oh, I still think it'll be Lashley and Kurt Angle in October.
Still think that'll happen?
Oh, yeah. October's a long way from now. A lot can happen from now until then.
Yep. That's the money match right now. Unless anybody has any other suggestions. I believe that will
not be Sting. That's for damn sure.
He's headlined the last three Bound for Glory.
Rob Terry and Cody Deaner.
Oh, Lord.
That'll be an explosion next week.
And I also just wanted to say I thought that first match of the night was probably the best of the night, and overall was a well-performed pay-per-view, but some of the endings of the matches were just either obvious or awful. So overall, pretty good night for the pay-per-view, but I'd like to see a little something new, but it's hard to get what you want all the time. Thanks for the call, and you guys have a good night.
Thank you for the call, Ryan from Illinois.
I think there was a replay one. Now,
you're right.
There was a cage match.
Yeah, Batista Taker. It was Batista Taker. That's the one you're thinking of.
No, it was even before then.
Well, the one
Bret Hart, it was Royal Rumble, Bret Hart, and Lex Luger.
Also, Rock and Big Show.
Yeah.
But the Batista Undertaker one was terrible. It was a SmackDown where they show, the side by side, the split screen, but when they show the big version of Taker coming down, you can see Batista still, a mile away from getting down the cage.
British Invasion wins the matchup for the IWGP Tag Straps up over
I want to get
money.
what?
The way it happened was Eric Young gets on the apron, and then he gets, there's a low blow in the ring, and the match is won by the British Invasion. Now another Don West classic, which is actually not quite his, but it still worked. As they're going through the replay, of course, he fails to mention the low blow. Nate points it out. He says his monitor malfunctioned. Anyone?
No.
That's Bobby.
That's funny.
Classic Bobby Heenan right there. However, Heenan always said, my monitor went out. What? I didn't see that. Next matchup was for the knockout.
So Don West was Don Imus and Bobby Heenan tonight.
I don't know if it made air. I don't know if I've released this information, but I did ask Don West directly if he had been channeling Bobby Heenan.
And he said?
He said no.
Well, at least he didn't say, who's Bobby Heenan?
No, he was completely aware. He didn't say no. I'm sorry, he didn't. He said no, that he was not, but he said TNA has been helping him through, so maybe TNA's channeling and saying it over. But the Knockouts title was on the line. I'm really not sure what the rules of this match were, because especially after what happened at the end of it, but it was the Beautiful People, specifically Angelina Love, versus ODB and Cody Deaner. This was actually somewhat entertaining.
Cody Deaner is a stud. Cody Deaner.
Cody Deaner is Santino Marella light.
Yeah, Cody.
That's a good way to put it.
Cody Deaner.
You think there's a comparison there between Deaner and Morella?
As far as comedy, funny,
the comedy, yeah. Cody Deaner's a stud, man. He made out with every one of the Beautiful People. And then he goes
find him funny at all.
Cody Deaner?
Yeah.
That's why I'm calling him Santino Marella Light. He's not funny.
No, GH, just LIT.
Yeah.
HGH.
ODB wins this matchup. However, Cody Deaner, who got the pin on Velvet Sky, walks out with the championship belt.
Kind of like Santino Marella.
So Cody Deaner is going to be Miss Hard Justice?
Wow. So now you're implying Eric Young is Chris Jericho.
No,
now you're comparing
do not
Cody
move
Deaner
me around like that.
to Santino Marella.
I am not.
No more catering for you.
His beloved WWE never fed him. So that's why he goes to TNA now. He flies down for a free meal a la Frank Cosentino. Well, Frank Cosentino shows up for gimmicks all the time when they feed him.
After the matchup, the beautiful people
Any food here tonight.
not having quite a beautiful time with each other as Madison
It could
Rain.
have been a lot better.
Madison Rain gets the blame for a botched hairspray spot, which wasn't botched, but just as pertains to the beautiful people losing the matchup. And they leave Madison Rain in the ring, and we'll see what happens with that going forward. A couple of people were commenting in the chatmosphere that the beautiful people were old and not really relevant anymore. I completely disagree.
Wow, look at this. Free food for the cause.
Yeah.
Ask and you shall receive.
It must be that Italian thing, huh? They're just going to get all nervous?
Well, I probably have to give him $5 now.
Okay.
Damien, the question, because we were thrown off by the free food.
The beautiful people.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring the show back together here. I'd make out with all of them. Madison Rain's kind of a butterface, though.
As we referenced earlier with that caller from Illinois, Ryan, we had TNA Tag Team Championship on the line as Team 3D went up against Scott Steiner and Booker T. Decent match, though. Went out to the crowd. It was wild, basic Team 3D matchup. Things got very bizarre at the end, though. Firstly, having the two referees in the ring, which really never made any sense until the end, when it still made no sense. Steiner and Devon both get pins at the same time. The referees go to, quote-unquote, review the tape.
Which was set up on this odd milk crate type situation there.
And then they award the match to Steiner and Booker T, and the fans chanted that it was BS.
After their This Is Awesome chant.
Hey, by the way,
Right.
Dave, how did you feel that the Team 3D did in a match?
You know, I thought it was beer money. Because we were watching it, I was like, man.
He's shooting, folks.
I'm serious. I'm like, boy, the fans love beer money, don't they? You know, because they're saying, this is awesome. I'm thinking, the Dudley's got a This Is Awesome chant?
No, that's what it said on the monitor.
It was.
Instead of saying cheer, it said This Is Awesome.
So what you're saying is that the
That
WWE
wasn't the
thing
Abraham
was-
Washington
Yeah,
show?
Abraham Washington, yeah.
You know that when they do the Ask a Diva thing on SmackDown or Superstars or whatever, it's the Abraham Washington show music.
Huh.
These are the things I noticed.
Hey, you know what you might notice, or I don't know if you watch iCarly. She had the Jeff Hardy.
Dave, you are
theme song.
done. You're suspended now.
You were the
What
man
the
that
hell
just-
would I be doing watching
You were the man that
iCarly?
just
Your
said
daughter watches
You're a Six
iCarly.
Flags guy.
you were the man
You're
that just
bringing that
said
stuff.
Dave Hero is on tonight, and you
No,
just
no,
banned
they
him.
had Jeff Hardy's theme song on.
Was he on the show?
His
No,
old
no.
his old theme song.
Yeah, his old one.
So it's public domain music.
The TNA Tag Team Champions are still Scott Steiner and Booker T. Mick Foley versus Kevin Nash for the Legends Championship is the match we'll talk about next. However, let's go to the phone lines. I believe next is line 3. Ruben, you're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
How's it going, guys?
Ruben. Hola, ¿cómo está?
Aside from me being a victim, Ruben, we're fine.
That's obvious. No, the pay-per-view was okay. I didn't see the whole thing. I just saw the Kevin Nash and the main event and the Steel Asylum. And I heard that the beautiful people, something went wrong. I don't really agree with that. The women's division is supposed to have importance, and now it's making like WWE was, like making it a joke. So I don't know. With Christopher Daniels being the number one contender and Samoa Joe being the champion, and they're kind of talking about AJ Styles, it'll be a good idea make it a triple threat and make that match again.
Yeah. And Daniels referenced AJ Styles earlier. Now, for those of you that don't know, AJ is out with a staph infection in his leg, and that's what Daniels was referencing. And then Tenay and West tried to clean it up and just say he was despondent over losing to Matt Morgan. Why they wouldn't just say he was injured? Well, I don't know. Who knows what they got planned?
Do you think because of the staph infection and all the medication, he'll come back as a hillbilly again?
He'll team up with Cody Deaner.
You know?
Maybe he can make out with the beautiful people.
Ruben, thank you very much for that call here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Again, if you want to join us, folks, the number 276-ESPN here locally or 1-800-990-ESPN. The live chat is blowing up at PWRshow.com as well. Meathead, how about a Chatmosphere report?
A Chatosphere report? If anything, you're the WWE sheep, according to Deeds. And they're still talking about the iCarly fights. Shelby Marks TV movie was better than Canaro versus Cyborg.
See?
All that's still flying over my head.
Carly? Is it Carly Simon?
Someday somebody's going to make you want to turn around and say goodbye.
Say goodbye.
Line one,
God,
Bowman from Boston. You're live at the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, where is our guy Ruben
Hang on,
from?
Bowman.
New York?
Ruben, I think Ruben is from Helmar.
Okay.
Well, we got Bowman from Boston on right now. Bowman, welcome back to the show.
What's going on? It's a lot to talk about, I suppose. I guess the first thing I'm going to get on from one WWE fan to another and Damian Nelson. How does Vince Smith rob Terry? He just screams WWE when you look at him.
Yeah, him and Masters.
He looks like he's the most out-of-place person in TNA that I've ever seen. Looks like, why is he in WWE?
Looks like Victor Kozlov. Or Ludwig Borga.
Ludwig Borga, exactly. Ludwig Borga, exactly.
It's pretty good, actually.
I watched some of Hard Justice tonight. It was okay. I watched that Steel Asylum match. I really don't get the gimmick of that. And I feel like they booked that match how WWE books Divas matches, and they just want to shove as many of them as they can into one match.
Yeah.
So all of them get a payday. What they did was a fantastic match, and they could have did that with 4 guys. I could have followed it a lot better on TV than seeing that Steel Asylum thing, which is better to see in a live crowd.
Someone's going to fall from the top of that one of these times.
I'm worried. Yeah.
Well, somebody could fall from the top of anything. Almost people have fallen from the top.
I've fallen from the top of my chair once. I was drinking.
And he had one of those ridiculous T-shirts on that says, "If you can read this, put me back on my bar stool."
And you can see those pictures of Meathead on his Facebook page, too.
Sorry, Bowman, we distracted. Yes, go.
And as far as the overall review and as far as the kind of the Kurt Angle situation, which I think personally, I don't want to say it's really funny. I just think it's just kind of one of those things like, it's like the athletes getting caught with steroids. Is it really that much of big news? Is that shocking anymore?
I wouldn't say it's shocking, aside from what else is going on in TNA right now.
Disappointing.
This could be cataclysmic.
Disappointing.
Cataclysmic?
If it's Shark Boy or Amazing Red,
or Rob Terry,
or even Consequences Creed, it's not that big of a deal. But it's your number one guy.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that, and I kind of regret not being at that TNA show, because knowing me and knowing this, I'd have quite a few chances for Kurt Angle. Starting off with, Khan's going to sue you.
She may have motives here, folks. Let's not forget that.
Well, you know what?
You made bail.
Raka Khan used to be in the WWE developmental Deep South.
Natasha or something Biggers?
Trinesha Biggers.
Trinesha, yeah.
And she was released because she was causing problems down there. During, the training, she was saying that, she's being touched and, there was, allegations of racial discrimination, and she just caused a lot of problems. And, people have even said that she was like Satan in a Sunday dress. So
some people dig that.
Yeah, and you know what? So obviously, there's been a history of her, and I'm not saying whatever happened to her she deserved.
Well, she swung first.
Well, she's
game on.
From what I heard, she's very calculating, and she knows what she's doing, and now she's in a great spot to get a meal ticket that's going to, take good care of her.
Yep. And but overall in the whole situation with TNA, with this going on and with the Janet Angle thing going on, I'm just in very big worry for TNA that if the wrong people get pushed out that are in control, and certain people that are going to be in control of the company get on this mindset of trying to directly compete with the WWE, I have this very big fear that TNA is not going to make it as far as they possibly could.
Yeah. Well, as long as both TNA and WWE, are aware of the competition, that's really the only place you need to be. That's a healthy place to be in a
they
business
just need to be aware of the competition and not go headline. Like when Dixie was talking, I think she had an interview earlier. She was talking about competing against Vince McMahon, and I'm sitting there.
Great interview she did, by the way, with the jabs she took at WWE.
Yeah, no, I understand the jabs and all, but does she realize that this man not only beat the government but beat the blank checkbook too? So why are you gonna go against him? Beat the blank checkbook.
Yeah, good point.
By the way, that's reference to Ted Turner for those that don't know.
Oh, and by the way,
here it comes. Here it comes.
Somebody remind Sting since he forgot what WCW is.
WCW is a defunct wrestling company that went out of business and was purchased by WWE in 2001.
Think Sting's going to remember that?
Who? Well, he's
Sting?
You know, they say the mind's the first thing they go, how old is Sting? Sting's 50, 52, 50.
Sting forgets
40.
the finishes. You know, if I'm anyone in TNA right now, I want to be Kevin Nash.
Kevin has got a six-pack again.
You know, here's why. Because when this company
if I were to say that.
When TNA does fold, you know, and it collapses, this will be the first company that no one can blame on Kevin Nash.
That he's been in.
Yeah. He spoke about that on this show. If you haven't checked out that interview.
It'll be Jeff Jarrett and Kurt
that.
Angle. It will not be Kevin Nash as the guy that ruined TNA.
But Kevin Nash was in the next match. Thank you, Bowman from Boston, for that phone call.
Bowman.
It was Kevin Nash versus Mick Foley. Blood everywhere. A bit of a hardcore kind of matchup, which saw Kevin Nash walk out of Hard Justice, the new TNA Legends champion.
Why did Don West have to continually sell to us that was Mick Foley's blood all over Kevin's face?
Well, it's Kevin's blood.
We know that, but Don West kept trying to tell you that it wasn't.
I have no idea.
It made no sense.
You know what? You know how that other sports talk show guy has his jungle and the karma and stuff? People that come on our show, they do pretty well also.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Nash comes on Monday night. He's the new Legends champion.
A little bit of a hint from Mick Foley about his days as Mankind. He was sitting in the middle of the ring doing that little rock, and he started pulling his hair out. And then the run-in from Abyss, Mankind 1 versus Mankind 2.
Well, he made the save.
Well, yeah, making the save after Nash attempted to attack him with the barbed wire baseball bat.
I honestly think it'll be Abyss versus Mick Foley pretty soon.
Really? I think it's going to be Abyss Nash first, like we talked about with the money.
Well, see, because when Mick first came into TNA, that was one of the first storylines that was presented to him was Abyss. And obviously,
we discussed that,
and they passed on it. And I think it just makes the most sense.
Don't you think there's in just about every wrestling match when someone makes a save on a singles competitor, eventually those two match up? Like it could take a year or two.
Like Matt Morgan and Abyss.
Yep.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. When we come back, we're going to go to Mike from Orlando, then CJ from Richmond, Virginia. You can join us on the phone lines as well. Also at pwrshow.com in the live chat. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. We were waiting for the save by Abyss.
No, that was Rob Terry.
We're live Sunday, August 16, 2009. Frank Scott Cheese Curds. Sunday. Along with Dave Hero, and I'm Damian Nelson. Thank you very much for tuning in. We've spent a lot of time today talking about TNA Hard Justice, which actually we had only allocated the first hour for, but with this big story breaking over the weekend, just yesterday actually, Kurt Angle, let me tell you where I was. People say they know where they were when things happen. I was
in the bathroom?
No. I was outside enjoying myself. And
not in front of others, I hope.
Wow. I got a text, and I looked at it and said, come on, you're kidding me. This can't be real. This can't be true. And then it starts spreading like wildfire over the IWC. And I, being the broadcast journalist that I am, immediately go and start looking for police blotters in the town, Robinson Township, whatever it was, out outside Pittsburgh, and found it and said, wow, this is right. This happened. And I texted David Hero.
And then I got phone calls from people in the company that didn't know what was going on. It was amazing.
It was ugly. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I said,
you were channeling your Clarence Mason is what you were doing.
Oh, Jackie Chiles.
Why those two? There are other great lawyers out there like Robert Shapiro.
Jackie Chiles is.
Seinfeld.
I don't watch Seinfeld.
Whoa!
Get out.
We have a major problem.
Hold on.
One of the prerequisites for being a part of this panel
the door's open. Get out.
Is vast in-depth knowledge of every Seinfeld episode.
And to be able to quote an episode at a given moment.
And you can get away
I
without
have yet
having
to hear either one of you guys quote any Seinfeld stuff.
I've been doing it all night.
You just didn't know it was being said.
We've been doing it all night. Thank you,
Frank.
Anyway, that's actually
Frank?
George
Yes.
Costanza.
Let's continue on TNA, or Justice.
Thanks, Frank. Yeah,
You got
just
two
sit
strikes.
there and say nothing. Okay?
You got 2 strikes.
The main event matchup, which was Kurt Angle versus Sting versus Matt Morgan. Typical 3-way match. Kurt Angle feigns an injury and pulls referee Hebner out of the ring as Morgan was about to get the count. Angle wins the match.
You had the line of the night during that match also, Damien.
I did?
When you said you just had 2 guys that were stuck pigs in the previous match. Nobody was checking on them. But Kurt Angle's laying out there. And
Earl Hebner's yelling, I'm looking at this guy.
Because he's the champ.
No.
No, because he's evil.
You know what? I bet you they were looking to see if his ankle bracelet was on or not.
Oh,
David Hero.
See for his monitor.
You that's slander.
What? How is that slander?
He's not wearing an ankle bracelet.
Oh, no. I didn't mean ankle bracelet.
You meant
That's not what I meant.
You meant the ankle lock. Yeah.
You
I
dare.
meant ankle lock.
Same thing.
Yeah.
It's not Martha Stewart.
Lock, bracelet, same thing.
Yeah.
And you talk about me and what I say.
Let's talk about how great our listeners are. We've got Mike from Orlando on line 2 who's been on hold forever. Mike, let's now talk to you. We're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Mike, we're great. Would be even better if you told us you were in the Impact Zone tonight.
I was in the Impact Zone. I actually just got out of the Impact Zone.
Wow.
How was the show live? I got a lot of heat, Mike, last month for being at Victory Road and saying that it wasn't as bad a show as most other people thought because I was there live. I still haven't watched it on TV.
Called Failure Street.
Your thoughts. Obviously, you've listened to us talk about it on this program, but your thoughts of the card from being there live.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I was in the same boat with Victory Road. I thought it was a great pay-per-view at first until I really looked back on it and realized
Must have got catering also that night.
Yeah, it's different from when you're sitting at the pay-per-view itself. All in all, it wasn't as bad of a show as Victory Road. It was actually a good mile better than Victory Road. It had a lot of great heat in the crowd, especially for the Steel Asylum and the 3D matchup. I think 3D got probably the biggest crowd reaction out of that entire night. All in all the matches were good. I really can't complain except for the Knockouts matchup, which makes me want to go after Vince Russo. Let's put it that way.
Why did you hit now, Mike? Let me challenge you on that. There are so many people out there who are so quick to jump on Russo, blame Russo. Now, granted, he played a pivotal role in the defunct WCW.
For like 8 months.
I'm not gonna lie. There's other people in there, but it smells too much of Vince Russo. You know.
But how do we know what Vince Russo smells like? I mean, and I don't mean that in an aromatic way. I mean, he only was in WCW for like 8 months.
True. But
hey, Mike, one other question. Do you know the definition of the word denial?
It's a river in Egypt.
No, that's what Meathead is in reference WCW.
You can't blame Vince Russo.
I don't think you can. I don't think it's fair that he gets all the heat he does. And I never met the man, so I don't know much about him.
So you wouldn't know how he smells either.
No.
Excuse me?
No, I don't think so. But, Jeff Jarrett's still on creative. They got Vince Russo.
No, he's off creative. He's off creative. They sent him home. He has nothing to do with creative right now at this point.
That you're aware of.
Okay, but
sure.
The past 6, 7, 8 months to a year he's been involved in creative, and they always criticized Vince Russo back then. But, I mean, he's doing the best he can with what he has.
Look at the situation he was put in at Victory Road, as you talked about, Dave. Jeff Jarrett sent home some point right before that. And being a primary member of the creative team obviously had a lot to do with the card that night. And from what I understand, Vince Russo had to clean all that up, fill all the holes, and put a show together. And whatever you think about Victory Road, that's not easy to do. There could have been some challenges there. There obviously had to be some challenges there. But I'm not defending Vince Russo. Let's not misinterpret that. I'm simply saying I'm not sure if it's fair the amount of criticism that he gets whenever things are bad. When's the last time anybody has praised Russo? And I'm not even saying he deserves it, but when's the last time anyone has praised Vince Russo?
And let's be honest, the best part about Vince Russo right now is he's not on camera.
True. And I got to say something about the main event right now. I honestly don't like the fact that they gave Kurt Angle the belt. I honestly think that TNA should have really put their foot down as far as this whole situation.
Well, they didn't give him the belt. He still has it.
Well, Mike, here's the question. What happened after the match? What happened after the pay-per-view went on the air?
He walked out off the aisle, and they focused more on Matt Morgan.
So Kurt just left. Did anybody leave with him? Did anybody come out to check on him? Was there anyone?
No, he just left. He just left. From what I saw, he pinned him and left after that.
What kind of anti-Angle chants were there?
Oh, there were a couple HGH chants. Somebody tried to start a chant about Raka. Yeah, there were a bunch of other chants people tried. But in all honesty, I honestly hope that TNA does something. I really do not like him just getting away with this. I mean, how bad do you have to screw up where you're caught stalking a TNA knockout? You're caught
allegedly.
Well, Meathead's been caught a few times.
Allegedly, remember, he hasn't been convicted in court of law.
Well, think about it. Meathead's not really the face of PWR.
I'm not, unfortunately, and that's why we're
Mike,
where
I'm
we
liking
are
you
right
more and
now.
more. Remember, Mike is the one who I saw you at Victory Road, correct? And you said that my pay-per-view was much better than.
Let's speak about that pay-per-view for a second, because obviously I dominated you in the draft again when you can't even put out a pay-per-view. You should have had one out 2 weeks ago. But
according to who?
According to us, we're supposed to have one.
Who's us?
We're supposed to have one each month, and
it'll be out the week after SummerSlam.
Yeah, but your August, the week after Summer.
June and July came in they came over the course of 2 months.
No, the SummerSlam
they came over the course of 2 months.
Mike
from Orlando.
The week after it'll be September.
Yes.
Kurt Angle leaves right after the match. No other shenanigans. Matt Morgan leaves. Really nothing of note off camera from tonight, or anything you'd like to share?
Nothing. Basically, Kurt Angle left. Matt Morgan was just lying in the ring, and I don't know what happened to Sting. I think he disappeared after that.
He
forgot where he was.
He went back. He used Suicide's rig and went back up to the rafters.
Yeah, I really would have liked to have seen Matt Morgan win, even if it's just for a transitional period.
Too early.
I would not want to have seen Sting win, because I'm tired of Sting at this point.
Why
but I think
it's too early.
It's still too early. Let him get into the mix first. You don't give the guy the win in his first pay-per-view match like that.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
Well,
Brock Lesnar Rock 2002. While it may not have been his first pay-per-view match, nobody expected him to win. Everybody wanted him to win. He won. I still love that match. I still love that night. It doesn't matter.
CM Punk over Edge.
CM Punk had already won the belt.
Edge over John Cena.
CM Punk had already won the belt. He won the belt on a Raw.
Yeah, but he was relatively new to the company. He'd been there, for about 6 months?
A year. No, longer than that.
Santino Marella.
I still think, in the opinion
Santino Marella, his very first match ever.
On TV.
And he beat Umaga.
What are you talking about?
But
on
he didn't
TV?
beat
Was
Umaga.
this pay-per-view not on TV?
Bobby Lashley blew through Umaga. Santino collapsed on top of him and got a pin.
Still got the win.
Yeah, that doesn't make it.
Mike, anything else you want to share with us here tonight?
Not much.
How was catering tonight, Mike? Was it good?
How was the catering at the it was all right. I tried one of those turkey legs over there for the first time. It was all right. They're actually really good.
The joke being that you're on the TNA payroll like Damian Nelson is, and then you're back at catering.
No, if I was on the TNA payroll, there'd be a lot of better things I could do.
A lot of better things?
There you go.
Yeah, that's good money.
Mike from Orlando, who much like me is not being paid by any wrestling company, thank you very much for calling in here to the show. Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. We appreciate it. Go ahead, Frank.
Can I just say one last thing?
Oh, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Go ahead, Mike.
Can I say one last thing about what Meathead's been saying about the fact that he's been winning as far as the pay-per-views are concerned? You're winning, but then again, Glenn Beck has fans, so
Who?
Whoa.
Yeah. Who?
Yes.
You got to explain to me who this.
Testify.
Who this is?
Glenn Beck. Exactly. Thank you. That explains so much right there. I even know who Glenn Beck is.
Who?
Wow.
He's an analyst on Fox News, formerly of CNN Headline News.
Who? He's an analyst.
Thank you, Mike from Orlando, for that call.
New York Times bestseller.
I think I'll be back in your city by September, by the way. I'm thinking of coming down.
At the end of TNA pay-per-views, do they have someone come out and say, thank you for coming, our next show is, or do they just end it?
Oh, it's just sort of done.
Hey, Bobby Lashley's on the poster for the next pay-per-view.
And advertised to wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of advertised, this is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. We'll have a lot more when we come back.
Treat me like a man. Don't treat me like you know me. Treat
treat me like a man.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPN Milwaukee.
So, Damien, was this song for you? Don't treat you like a woman or don't treat you like a man?
Shut up.
You know.
Let's continue on the phone lines here, which you can join us. The number is 276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. Also, we're live in the chatmosphere, pwrshow.com. While we're on this call, Media's going to compile some comments there. Let's go now to Richmond, Virginia, to a very patient CJ. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, CJ? You a first-time caller?
Yes, I am.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. I'm a long-time fan of the show for
Thank you.
years, actually. To the question about what Damien said earlier about letting Matt win the belt tonight, I kind of agree, but comparing that with Brock winning against Rock, I think Brock had a better opportunity because the fans were tired of Rock leaving, and that Brock had a lot more fans because they thought that he probably, was the next big thing, as they say.
Not like Rob Terry in 2010.
I don't really like Rob, but he's
Damien does.
There.
Damien does. So, what else?
But yeah, otherwise, the pay-per-view tonight it was okay. It wasn't what I expected.
The question that we always ask is: it worth the $30 that you paid for?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't for me, but it wasn't great. But it wasn't bad like December to Dismember, if you can remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But other than that, though, I know I heard you talking about the instant replay in wrestling, and I don't think y'all mentioned this one match. I'm gonna take you way back. It was
Frank will dig that.
Saturday night's main event between Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff and Hulk Hogan. I think it was a steel cage match, and they used the instant replay. I think that's what it was. I think that started the match. So I thought that was one of the ones that you didn't mention. But other than that, though, I just thank you for taking my call and whatnot. So
TJ from Richmond, Virginia, thank you for calling in. The now blue Virginia. This week in wrestling history, ladies and gentlemen. As a matter of fact, on today, can you believe it? In 1960, Frank, back when you were 12, Vern Gagne. Vern Gagne began his first reign as AWA heavyweight champion.
Wow.
I was there.
When you were 12.
I don't remember who I was talking to, but it was somebody. I think it was some friend. And they were asking me about why. Right. Why, when flipping through ESPN Classic the other night, they saw wrestling on. And it was, the classics on ESPN from AWA. Yeah. And I actually spoke about how, and as I spoke about why it was on and where it came from and the story of that show, aside from the last episode, has anybody seen, it was like the last couple episodes, where they had that football brawl?
Yeah.
Where they were in,
that was
football uniform?
That was terrible.
That is probably the worst thing I've ever seen in professional wrestling.
That's not jumping the shark. That's
worse than the birth of a hand.
That was
worse than the coffin being dragged.
The hand was pretty bad.
But the hand still was funny though. I mean, it was a bad end to it.
No, somebody should have been out of a job over that.
Yeah.
I blame Vince Russo for that one.
Yeah, because everybody else does. All right, Damien, I'm ready. I've got one.
Because it's not your turn. Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson on this day in 1986 defeated Dennis Condrey and beautiful Bobby Eaton for the NWA. Beautiful Bobby Eaton. World Tag Team Championships. And one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, the great Muta, defended Riki Koshu for the IWGP
I want to get what?
Heavyweight Championship back in 1993, it looks like. Speaking of WCW, which is, in case you don't remember, referred to earlier, 1999 or just yesterday, was the Road Wild pay-per-view. Remember, that was free. They gave it away and made no money on it and brought in high-dollar people to work it, like Rodman and Jay Leno.
Karl Malone.
Bob Backlund was born yesterday in 1950, and beautiful Bobby Eaton, born in 1958 on yesterday. That is this week in history. Let's now go to BTRIM, Beat the Meat.
No. That's not what you set me up for. You said I'm the read out of the Chatosphere.
Oh, that, yeah. Go ahead.
Pay attention to what you're doing, man.
I got
Pay
12
attention to what you're
screens
doing.
in front of me. I got my
You're
gimmick.
not-
I got all this stuff going on. I've
You're
got
not
a
doing
clock.
anything.
I got a timer. I got Tillman putting fingers up at me.
Shadowsphere.
I wear my
Funky Southern Angels says, too bad that we're not talking about SmackDown because someone needs to mention Matt Hardy looked like a mix between a Oompa Loompa and a bloated Tommy Oliver.
Who's Tommy Oliver?
He must be some guy from Seinfeld.
No.
You want instant heat. You're going to get it.
Yeah, seriously, 2 strikes, buddy. That was a foul tip.
SmackDown last week. Let's talk about TV from last week. TNA, WWE SmackDown, WWE Raw. Let's see what the fans had to say. Which show was the best show last week? And you get the chance to vote on that every week at pwrshow.com. 41.5% of the people picking TNA Impact, followed by SmackDown at 30%, and Raw closely behind it with 24.6%.
But you didn't mention the 4 votes for WWE Superstars.
Who's the guest host tomorrow night?
It'll be Freddie Prinze Jr.
Got a movie coming out or something?
Huge ratings on that one.
Does he have a movie coming out? Is that the deal?
He's probably working cheap.
Anybody looking forward to that?
No.
That's the go-home edition of Raw before SummerSlam. Shawn Michaels may or may not make his return.
Oh, he's going to be there. He said he's in.
Welcome back, Michael Tillman, producer.
I think Sarah Michelle Gellar is probably looking forward to that, and that's it.
Why, is she going to be on screen? Because then I'd be looking forward to.
No, but
is
it's her
Scooby-Doo
husband.
coming?
Your thoughts on what the viewers deemed and listeners deemed the number 1 show of the week?
How many times
TNA
did
Impact
you vote,
last week.
Damien?
How many times did I what? Vote?
Yeah.
I don't vote. I'm staff.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to vote.
Impact.
I don't
won.
vote. I didn't vote.
If you had a vote,
Our listeners and
If
viewers
you
in
had a
Florida
vote-
voted 12 times.
if you had a vote, show of the week.
Last week, show of the week, I can't do that.
You didn't watch any of the programs.
I have not had a
Broadcast
chance.
Junior, a journalist, didn't watch any of the content.
I would say Hell's Kitchen.
And as I'm a broadcast journalist, I will really admit to everyone listening out there that I have not yet had a chance to watch SmackDown.
Have you seen Luna's son on Hell's Kitchen yet?
No.
He's
Missing
looking
out?
a little insane.
He looks like he's Luna.
Yeah.
Dave Hero, show of the week.
SmackDown.
SmackDown.
Actually, it was Impact.
I did like the verbal sparring between Mick Foley and Kevin Nash on Impact.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Almost phenomenal. Say again.
Speaking of phenomenal, tonight on TNA's Hard Justice pay-per-view, they did say that coming up this week on Impact, AJ Styles is going to make an announcement regarding his future in TNA. Maybe they should be making an announcement regarding somebody else's future in TNA.
Make a double announcement.
Well, obviously, part of the announcement is the fact that the court date may have been postponed.
That will never come up on TNA TV.
Oh, it'll
No.
never come up.
No,
But
not
that's,
at all.
again, an announcement that they should be making.
No. You know what? I can see them putting the belt on AJ Styles tomorrow.
I hope not. I mean, especially if he's still injured.
Doubtful.
Well,
I mean, we've seen wrestlers wrestle before with staph infections.
yes, we have.
Well, as you said, Hernandez can cash it in.
But he doesn't fit in yet. He's the guy, if anyone.
I think he fits
would
in
be
with the
getting into
TNA
the
audience. I think the TNA audience can buy into Hernandez as world champion.
For how long?
They've been teasing it for a year.
He's a midget.
Hernandez is a midget?
He is. You see how tall he is? It's not believable.
Shawn Michaels has been champion how many times?
It's completely different.
Rey Mysterio's been a champion.
Completely different.
Okay, but Hernandez isn't championship material.
No, he hasn't paid his dues long enough yet.
But that's not a midget. I mean, what it is?
No, okay.
Pick and choose.
You put Hernandez in the ring with a Kevin Nash or a Booker T, even Scott Steiner, and what? Hernandez comes up to what? Their chest?
Okay, you put Rey Mysterio in the ring against a Big Show, and they still
Right,
sell.
You just have to be careful.
But-
You might step on him.
No, Rey Mysterio is, he's just a different kind of guy, a different kind of wrestler. I mean, he sells tickets. Hernandez does not sell tickets.
Yes. But then again, how many tickets does
Okay,
TNA sell?
Hernandez has a T-shirt.
How many tickets does
Hernandez has a T-shirt.
Mhm.
How many did you see on TV tonight?
Huh? They haven't been selling them.
He's had a
They're
T-shirt.
for sale.
He's had it for at least a month.
But they're terrible.
You
They're
go,
terrible
you
at
go to
promoting.
any Raw, SmackDown house show.
But that's because of the machine.
No, it doesn't make a difference.
It's the machine.
You still have your fans going there spending their money. You go to a Raw show,
You
there are
go,
Rey
Dave,
Mysterio
you go to an
t-shirts.
Impact show, you don't have to pay to get in.
You guys
Okay,
remember the
it's
show
a different gimmick.
Point and Counterpoint from CNN?
Yes, I do.
What is CNN? That's
Cable
a
News
joke.
Network?
Yes.
Seinfeld watches
VI3.
it all the time.
Frank, could you please get some control of this program? And
No, Damien.
You ask us a question and don't want to
Am I right?
I don't even remember the question.
This guy's off
I'm
in his own
emotionally
world.
drained. You guys have been accusing me of things that I've never said.
They are
Because
not
you
going to
got-
put
it's
the
because-
belt on a guy that does not sell any merchandise.
I agree with that, always, 100%.
Well, then they're not going to put it on Hernandez.
But their machine isn't pushing Hernandez either.
They've been jamming him down our throats for the past few weeks. He went over on Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
He beat Samoa Joe.
No, Samoa Joe beat Samoa Joe.
That's a big win for Hernandez.
Yeah.
Didn't matter.
VI3, Frank, this used to be your segment. You remember how it goes?
Well, after I...
You can use your run sheet.
No, after I
Format.
heard you say the
Script.
now blue Virginia, I don't think anybody else got.
Oh, I heard it. I just let it go.
I'm the king of subtle.
No.
Because
you're not. That's, not subtle. Frank, go.
The VI3, let's start with Dave.
So why'd you have to bring it up? It could have been sitting there simmering.
Well, Dave, the
teapot
VI3.
was going on.
Okay. I will start off.
Each week we pick the 3 top names of professional
You ask the
wrestling.
man to do a segment, and then you jump in on him.
And then you interrupt me. 1 singles, 1 tag.
I'll interrupt you
and
again.
1 female Dave Hero. Take
My
it away.
female is Gail Kim.
Number one
Number
contender.
1 contender, who will have her title match tomorrow night.
Canadian Gail Kim.
Let's see, tag team, I'll go with the British Invasion. And my singles is your new Legends champion, Kevin Nash.
Meathead, man
I
to
thought
my
Dave
left.
Hero was going to go ahead and say that his singles was Rob Terry because he did the British Invasion.
Meathead, the man to my left.
My female is going to go out to Mickie James, of course. I'm loving the Arby's. My tag team is going to be a little different twist on it. This last ECW, I saw a very good match between Shelton Benjamin and woo Zack Ryder. So that's my tag team. And my single wrestler, Rob Terry.
Damien,
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You really don't think Rob Terry was my single wrestler, do you?
Mark it down. It's been
No.
recorded. It is, in fact, you there now have just put Rob Terry in your VI3.
No, I
You,
haven't.
Right now.
I was stalling
tonight,
for
August
you.
16, 2009.
I was stalling
documentation
for you.
That you are the mark for
No.
Rob Terry. Somebody
I'm
show
going
me
to
the
have to go ahead and
documentation.
sort of disagree with you there.
I was stalling for you.
Dave Hero, that was Office Space. Another movie you might want to check out.
Haven't seen that one.
Get out.
You suck. Frank, the definitive VI3, the one I'll be tuned in to here tonight, usually comes last for emphasis.
Right. So go ahead and do it.
My single spot.
Rob
My
Terry.
single spot goes to Sheamus.
Who?
Sheamus.
Are you just doing that because it's Irish Fest?
This guy's got something.
transparent.
This guy has got.
He's got it.
He's got something. He is going to be a huge star, barring injury and barring burial.
And
he is going to be a huge star.
And
He
and
is
barring hanging out with Matt Hardy and using that fake and bake. Oh.
He is huge, and he's just got that look. He's got that believability that he could be the next big thing. Tag team spot goes to Beer
Money,
and the female spot goes to the former Knockouts champion, Angelina Love.
And your current
Spunky
Knockouts.
Southern Angel in the PWR Chatmosphere. You are right. I do need a spa treatment so I can de-stress after tonight, and I got to go to Las Vegas to do it. I might go for Raw next week.
Lost wages?
Yeah, but it's not going to be the Godfather anymore.
And Frank?
Yeah.
We're waiting for you.
Frank, what's your VI3 you do?
My VI3 Frank doesn't stay till midnight.
I work with retards.
All right, let's go to ODB as my female.
Wait, we're not in New York, are we? Forget it. Go ahead.
ODB as my female. I'm going to go to British Invasion with my tag team. And my singles will go because he's very important right now is Kurt Angle.
Wow.
Wow, it's like saying, Chris Benoit, I understand things happen, but you're still my guy.
Feel free to go to Frank's Facebook page and bash him there, too, on that one.
By the way, if you're not signed up as a fan of Frank Cosentino yet on Facebook, please do so.
Well, 3 people on there.
It's like 100 now.
No.
Damien, go.
Be sure tomorrow at PWRshow.com to check out PWR Express of a video update with a more concise review of TNA Hard Justice from pay-per-view tonight. Gentlemen, coming up this Sunday night. Sunday! WWE's biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam, is on pay-per-view. Let's talk about the matches as we know them right now. And obviously the big news is the big return for the 78th time of the Generation X.
Don't care.
You know that little Shawn Michaels skit?
Where he kicked the kid?
Damien, what did that remind you of? What did that remind
Dave,
you of?
Dave, we got a little pact here, right?
Yes, we
do.
do.
Talked about it. Let's see if these two can go on the same page. That sketch from last Monday's Raw.
With the cafeteria there?
Yeah. What did you guys think of that?
Awful.
I thought it was...
Did it remind you of anything?
Damien, we are the smartest men in the world.
Yeah, why don't you guys keep putting yourselves over, too?
Well,
you saw a movie with Marissa Tomei?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like out of the page of The Wrestler.
Yeah.
Completely.
But I turned it off after she was done dancing.
Getting yelled at.
Hey, I turned it off after she was...
Excuses.
Dude,
the whole thing.
Nothing but.
I turned it off after she was done dancing. I was done.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Giggity.
No, it was just like watching,
Except for
redid The Wrestler.
Shawn Michaels kicked a kid. A girl.
Yeah.
He kicked her.
That was good stuff.
So, no, yeah.
She should have known her place, but DX returns.
No,
Frank, I don't
it's
believe we've
okay
got your
for an
thoughts
adult
on
to kick a 9-year-old in the face.
The return of DX.
Snore. We've seen it 400,000 times.
But they'll sell a bunch of DX
They
t-shirts
will.
on Sunday.
They will. It's a new
Because
crop
of the
fans.
machine.
It's a new crop of fans for the next 6 months.
You think so?
Well, there are every year. There's always a new crop. What's this DX about? Oh, you should have seen it about 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was good back then. X-Pac, Road Dogg, Billy, China. Now it's Triple H.
It's just two. It's just
Two guys that are like in their 40s. Not funny anymore.
It hasn't been funny for a long time.
Well, the matches have been announced for SummerSlam. As we know, DX is going to go up against Legacy. We talked about this one at length. Will Legacy get the win?
No.
God, you wouldn't think so, but they need the win.
They need it. Won't get it.
They need it.
I think they do. I think they pull it out.
Legacy gets a...
They pull out?
The main events are as follows. John Cena versus Randy Orton, part 12?
I think so. Yeah. Randy Orton goes over on John Cena.
Again.
Yeah, I agree.
Just don't forget, they got a big Hell in a Cell review coming up also.
Apparently for that, only 3
title matches
of the matches, the 3 title matches will be Hell in a Cell, much like No Way Out. Tag team titles on the line as Big Show and Jericho go up against JTG and Shad of Crime Time.
Jericho.
You know what? They can run with Jericho for quite a while.
Yeah.
They're going to be solid.
Well, who's going to make the suits for Big Show?
Big Show?
Rodney Dangerfield apparently used to run a big and tall store.
Thornton Mellon.
CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy, TLC World Heavyweight Championship matchup. This might be Jeff Hardy's last match in WWE.
It is Jeff Hardy's last match for a while. CM Punk beats Jeff Hardy in his own match.
CM Punk wins it.
Yeah, crazy mariachi Punk.
Dolph Ziggler versus Rey Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship.
Ray's still in the company because he's been on vacation for about a minute.
This is Dolph's
it's got to be
big
Dolph's
match.
coming out party, quote unquote.
This has been the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. Make sure you join us at PWRshow.com. We'll have brand new TV episodes all week long. We'll be back on your radio next Monday night. With a full review of WWE SummerSlam 2009 for the man they call me Dave Hero and the Cos. This is Damian Nelson saying so long, everyone. We'll see you next Monday night.